I'm going to let you know why personal branding is a key difference maker in your business and in your career. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Carlos here. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, my all-new series in which I answer your social media questions and interview interesting guests in the world of business. I'm coming at you once again from the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center here in San Francisco. And on today's episode, I'm going to talk about a topic that continues to get a lot of play on social media, which is the topic about personal branding. Now, in full disclosure, I want to go ahead and point out that from time to time, I put posts out there that tend to be a little controversial in nature. Maybe it's because I'm a marketer and I like to go ahead and get a reaction of folks out there. So if you don't know what I'm talking about a week or two ago, I put a post on my Facebook asking my friends on Facebook about personal branding and more specifically what they think about personal branding. And is personal brand something that you need in your career in order to be successful? And it was interesting to go ahead and see everyone's perspectives. You have a lot of folks that are saying, absolutely, you need a personal brand. And then you had other folks saying, no, you absolutely don't. Because if you work for a company and you're content in your job, you don't need a personal brand. Now, what was really interesting about my question is that Jason Falls, who is a longtime blogger and personality in the social media industry. Jason's been around for a long time. Jason went ahead and created a Facebook Live after he wrote a blog post acknowledging my question and my comment. Now, with all due respect to Jason, his point of view, I think Jason and I actually see eye to eye. That your personal brand is not just what people see, but it's actually what you're able to bring to the table, because the reality is that you can have this amazing public persona online, but if when someone hires you to do a job, they're not hiring you based on your personal brand, they're hiring you based on what you bring to the table. And if you don't have the chops to back it up, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the results, you can have, once again, the best personal brand online, but you're ultimately going to look like a phony along with having that really amazing personal brand with all these followers. Now, here's what I want to talk to all of you about on this episode of Real Talk. Why you need a personal brand. And the reason why you absolutely need to invest time in growing your personal brand is because your personal brand is what sets you apart. Every single person has a personal brand. And there's often this notion of, well, you have a professional brand and then you have a personal brand. And the world of social media, typically your professional brand is what lives on LinkedIn, and then your personal brand is what lives on Facebook and on Twitter and everywhere else. Well, guess what? That's wrong. You, the individual out there watching this, you are the brand of you. There is no personal brand or professional brand. It's one person. It's the brand of you. That all encompasses a personal brand at the end of the day. So whether you're investing time in doing activities like blogging or creating thought leadership content or engaging in Twitter chats or networking in LinkedIn groups, if you're not taking the time to invest and build that personal brand, then guess what's happening? There's a lot of other people, much younger and older and less experienced or more experienced than you, that are taking the time to invest in their personal brand. So I'm a big proponent in personal branding. Once again, you see me sitting here in a studio, creating content. I have a presence on Instagram and YouTube and Snapchat and Facebook and Twitter and you name it. And that is by design, because at the end of the day, my personal brand aligns with what I do for a living, which is I work in the social media industry. Now, the flip side to that is you'll have other folks that say, well, Carlos, you also work for a company. Why do you need to have a personal brand if you work for a company? Well, there's a couple different reasons why. First of all, a job has virtually no security nowadays. None whatsoever. So if you're in a job and you see yourself retiring from that employer in the next 25 to 30 years, great, good for you. Continue to go ahead and do what you're doing, show up to work every single day, put in your time, meet your goals, and I wish you the best of luck and hope that you never find yourself in a position where you don't need that job anymore. The reality, though, especially for millennials, is most millennials find themselves hopping from job to job every 1.5 to 2 years. So when you leave a job, or when you're in the process of leaving a job and you're interviewing for the next, what do most recruiters or hiring managers do? They go on Google and they look you up. And the first thing that they see is more than likely your LinkedIn profile. So they're going to go to your LinkedIn. They're going to go ahead and see your very nice profile photo or your headshot. They're going to see all the other content that you've written before on other blogs that you've probably attached to your LinkedIn profile. They're going to go ahead and see, because your LinkedIn profile is a professional resume, they're going to go ahead and see your experience at all these other companies. And they're going to say, wow, this person actually has a pretty polished resume on LinkedIn with good experience. Now, let me go ahead and dig a little bit deeper. And then that same hiring manager or recruiter is going to go ahead and, once again, go back to Twitter. They're going to find you on Twitter or on Google. They're going to read your blogs. They're going to go ahead and try to get to know as much as they can about you on the personal side. And guess what? If your LinkedIn and your personal persona don't really align with one another, that's going to go ahead and create a red flag. And at the end of the day, companies are going to be much more drawn in by the person that not only has the chops to do the job, but the person that's going to go ahead and put themselves out there. So this is why I say, invest in your personal brand. Look at your professional and personal brand as one and the same, because if you're not investing in it, I can ultimately assure you there's someone else in your industry that is. Whether you are an attorney, whether you are an accountant, regardless of what your profession is. If you really want to go ahead and go old school with me, think about all these other professions like attorneys and CPAs and realtors that historically advertise and promote their services through print advertising or through billboards. That's their brand. Social media takes branding to a whole nother level because it makes you much more accessible, and the content that you create goes ahead and accentuates that branding. So with all due respect to Jason and all my other colleagues out there that feel that personal branding isn't everything, I respectfully disagree with you, and I say that personal brand is everything, because at the end of the day, business has always been funded on these principles. People do business with who they feel comfortable doing business with. So if someone feels comfortable doing business with you because they have insight into what you do on the weekends, what you do after hours, you have a family or you don't have a family, or whoever you are, however you portray yourself through that brand, if people can relate to you and feel comfortable with you, they're going to be much more inclined to hire you. They're going to be much more inclined to do business with you. And that, my friends, is Real Talk. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Real Talk. I want to give a shout out to INC International Concepts, available exclusively at Macy's, for suiting me up with the threads that you see here on the set at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center in San Francisco. If you like this episode about personal branding, be sure to go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you're watching here on YouTube, and also hit that subscribe button. And if you have a question for an upcoming episode of Real Talk, be sure to drop that in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you on social media. Peace.